Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another JMS Talks Comics. It's been a little while now since the Wildcats reboot or Wildstorm reboot in general news has dropped, and recently we just got another preview, a look at some of the art samples for Wildcats, the upcoming Wildcats title coming from DC Comics, which we all know that I'm pretty much against. I don't think it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be representing the characters in any way that does them justice. I think they're going to be second-hand citizens in DC universe. I think they'd be the ugly stepchild, all that kind of stuff. I don't think they're going to be handled with people that actually love and care about these characters. Now, I believe this is going to be a limited series, so we might not have to worry about dealing with it for too long. Uh, Unfortunately, we're probably never going to get the original Wildstorm universe back in its continuity. And it's just something that I've you know is what it is. I'm not worried about it anymore. There's some fantastic stories in the past that we can always go to and read. Anything that comes out right now to me is probably going to be more or less fan fiction, uh, not necessarily canon, if that's what you want to say. Now, I know there's people whenever I do these videos about DC or about Wildstorm, you're going to get people on here that think I'm attacking DC or I'm attacking current Wildstorm or anything like that. If you like this stuff, great, good on you, good on you. I'm not trying to tell you not to like it, not to buy it, any of that kind of stuff. That's up to you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's great for you. To each their own, and I've seen a couple of people also hoping that this is good so that they continue to get the Wildstorm content that they're starving for. But my point is, if they're going to give us crap, I would rather these characters sit on the shelf and continue to collect dust than be brought out every once in a while and used in the manner that they're being used. And, in my opinion, disrespected. So here is I got a couple examples here. Here's a look at some previewed art. And I'm not going to go over this. You can read this article here at Newsarama. I'll try to drop a link for it in the description below, and you can go read about everything they're doing in the book. But let's just take a look at the art for a second. And this has got it's one of 13 images. Right off the bat, if you're doing this whole thing where DC is trying to do this, 30th year anniversary, Image is doing it with all their titles. DC is doing it with the Wildstorm stuff because obviously this started with Image comic books, and they're going out of their way to do like these quote unquote 90s style covers. Really, the only cover I think looks good is the Brett Booth cover, which actually obviously is Brett Booth is going to look awesome. But I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't go out of your way to try to get a 90s style artist or make it look a little bit more like the Wildcats of the 90s, like the Jim Lee or Travis Ray artwork that you would see or you grew to love in the 90s. Instead, you get this. And to me, maybe you understand what I'm saying when I'm going to say this, but it looks like very standard, boring, modern day mainstream comic book art. Not a lot to it, not a lot of dynamics. I feel like there's, this is a decent shot right there, but it's boring. The layouts are boring. The 90s were anything but boring, and that's the thing that people loved about the 90s. Dynamic page layouts, energy filled comics was what we grew to love in the 90s, and this just isn't it. So let me play this and see what we're gonna get. All right. The first thing I noticed with this, I don't know what they're doing with the character designs. From what I can tell with this, Zealot looks pretty much like Zealot looks. Grifter, I don't know what you're doing here with Grifter. Pretty much he shaved his head or he's got a crew cut now. At least he's got his guns. That's cool. I mean, what is this get up? What is this that he's wearing? It just seems very, I don't know, lazy. And if you read the dialogue, which I'm not going to go through the dialogue either, but you can read it. You go read this article here in Newsarama or pause the video. You can read this dialogue, and it's just so lazy and poor. The interaction between Grifter and this dude, I mean, it's just I don't know. Like I don't know who is writing the script and thinking this is any kind of entertaining or good or just I don't know. It's bad. It is really bad. The way it reads is it bad. It seems like 14-year-old girls talking to each other. Is the best way I could describe it. Again, I don't know if this is something new they're trying to do with the mask. Yeah, he's smoking a cigarette, which I'm actually surprised. I know in a lot of comics they're not really allowed to show people smoking anymore. So kudos to you, kudos to you that you were able to put that in there and that wasn't censored out. So that's one plus I can say. But the character doesn't look like Grifter. I mean, Grifter, the reason why you have character designs, and yeah, you can tweak those designs over the years and redesign a costume or whatever, but the base of the character usually stays the same. And Grifter had longer flowing hair, and now it's the only thing that you can recognize him as the character is this mask, and now they're doing the mask in this weird half bandana way. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing here. So it looks like it might have Death Blow there. Was he on the previous page? I can't tell. But again, the art is just modern day boring comic book art. That's all I can say. If you think of the greats like Jim Lee, Travis Charest, even guys like Brett Booth right now, I can't believe that they didn't get Brett Booth to do this book. It would have made so much sense with his ties to Wildstorm, his art style, that he would have been the one that they would have tagged to be the artist of this book. The story would have still been crap, but at least the visuals would have been very, very entertaining in the way it should be, and it would have looked like Wildstorm. This looks like whatever, and of course, this book can't stand on its own. It's gotta have the cameos by the Bat family in it. We can't have a Wildstorm universe, and God forbid it actually be continuing their original stories or just rebooting and having it just be their own universe. It's like, no, we have to put it in. We have to cameo with the Bat family. They've got to be in Gotham City. Uh, all this kind of stuff. They can't stand on their own. That's just it. That shows you how much faith they have in these characters. It looks like we got some covers here. Again, I don't know what the hell that is. Okay, here's another thing too. So Jim Lee dropped the pencils, and then Scott Williams put out the inks, and then Sinclair was who did the art? Who did the colors? I can't remember who did the colors, but they put this out. And the first thing I noticed is like, yeah, it's cool. It's Jim Lee drawing the Wildcats again. That in itself is nostalgic. That's cool. But the cover itself is just it's lackluster. You would think that Jim Lee drawing a cover for Wildcats for the first time in forever would have really gone out some bombastic 90s style version for this cover, energy filled. This is just the static positions, static stances. Uh, that's all I can say. It's Jim Lee. Yeah, it's still well drawn. Scott Williams does his thing, and then knock it out of the park. But it's just this cover doesn't scream to me Wildcats. It doesn't make me want to pick the series up. The Brett Booth cover does. That has the energy that Wildcats has. I've seen this before. This kind of like homage to the original cover without Maul here, without Warblade. And just similar positions though that some of these characters in. I don't like the art. I'm sorry, I don't. That's kind of cool. Just the way it's drawn. I kind of dig that, even though he's got knives instead of guns. And I do like that. The art style, it's just very well done. That is good. I like that a lot. But everything else is just, I don't know, leaves me wanting, right? Like these previews don't make me want to run out and get the book. They just don't. I'm sorry. I'll show you one more thing before we get out of here. Here's the finished cover. And, again, nothing wrong with it. It's fine. It's just not, there's no dynamic, there's no movement, there's no energy to it. It's just very It's very blah, in my opinion, is what it is. Very disappointing to see something like this be the Wildcats number one variant cover, if it's not the main cover, whatever. You would think that this would be just straight up Wildcats, Wildstorm, represent 30th anniversary. Let's put some excitement into it. Let's give some fans the joy of seeing these characters drawn in the way that they used to be drawn back in the day. We're celebrating 30 years. This is supposed to be the quote unquote 90s cover gimmicks that are going around, and it's just not what we get. It's not what we get. So it's disappointing. And again, guys, comment below, engage in conversation here. If you disagree with me, that's fine. We can have a legit conversation in the comments about why you like this, why you're excited about it. And again, I'm not telling you not to like it. I hope you do like it. You're spending money on it. You better like it. Uh, I, for one, am not going to spend money on it. So I'm telling you what disappoints me about it and the reasons why I'm not going to buy it. By all means, go out and purchase this if it's what you want. But I will say, if you support this as far as hoping that this is going to give us more Wildcats in the future, and this is just the way it is, they're secondhand citizens in their own comic book to the Bat family or to the rest of the DC universe, then that's what they're going to continue to give us. We won't see these characters in their glory on their own in the future. They will always just be tied to the DC universe, which I don't think they belong in. So that's it, guys. Just real quick, I guess, update here on some of the art that's been released. If you like this channel, please hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you excited about this? Is this something that's just driving you farther away, or just making you more disappointed that the Wildcats are finally coming back out, or Wildstorm in general is coming back out, and this is just what we are getting? Or are you extremely excited about this and can't wait to buy it? Either way, let me know in the comments below, and I will talk to you all later. Peace. Hey, everybody, before you go, did you know I have my own comic book called Reaper Destroyer on Indiegogo now? It's an action sci-fi adventure that captures everything about the dark heroes of the 90s that we love, but with a modern day twist. If you haven't yet, please consider backing today. There's a link in the description below, and I will talk to you all later.